Welcome to this session of Energy Conservation and Management. Myself, Anirban Sarkar, Assistant Professor, Mechanical Engineering Department of JIS College of Engineering. Today, our topic is energy savings in industries. In industries, they are the major sources of energy consumer in modern society. That is nearly accounting for 40% of energy uses, total energy uses. Coal or oil are heavily used, especially by primary industry and manufacturing and refining industries. Gas is being used increasingly to replace coal because it is cleaner fuel, producing less impact on the environment. Electricity is the only minor component of industrial energy use, although its use in driving electric motor is very important. The major sector within industry can be categorized as follows. First of all, manufacturing industry. This includes the processing of primary resources into customer products. Mineral refining, oil refining, and chemical manufacturing are some areas of energy uses where considerable savings could be made. Such activities often occur in the industrial zone of major cities. Power generation. The power generation industry is a massive user of fossil fuel and accounts for more than 50% of international greenhouse gas emissions. Many power stations are very inefficient, and these are strong economic and environmental incentives to save energy in the power supply industry. Most cities have major power stations, and these are often a cause of air pollution as well. Mining industry is also a major source of industry where significant energies are used. It is a primary type of industry which generally occurs outside cities, often in remote part of the country. Energy intensity is high in most mining operations, but there is an intensive to save energy because energy wastage is reflected in the cost of minerals. So if energy waste is more, the end product cost will be more. So this manufacturing sector, power sector, mining, agriculture, construction, everywhere, if energy wastage are there, ultimately the end product is costlier. Agriculture industry is another major user of primary energy which takes place in rural area and is largely beyond the scope of city government to influence it. Construction is a modest user of energy, particularly liquid fuel, because this activity often takes place at sites where electric power is not readily available. Considerable savings are available in this sector because there is often a large amount of wastage in construction activities. The main focus will therefore be on energy savings in manufacturing and power generations, as these are the major user of industrial energy in cities. Energy auditing in industry. Energy auditing in industry takes a similar approach to audit undertaken in the commercial sector. And analysis of existing energy consumption records to determine where, how, and how much energy is being used in the plant. It will also seek to identify trends in consumption data. A walkthrough audit that documents where the main areas of energy consumption exist within the plant. This phase will identify any obvious area of wastage together with the most promising areas for potential savings. A detailed analysis phase, which will take the data obtained in the previous two phases and prepare detailed plans for energy savings options. These plans will include detail on energy use and cost of each stages of production process, as well as costing and expected payback period of the various energy savings option proposed. In case of industrial sectors, the main focus should be level 3 auditing, where the individual processes are analyzed. For example, the production of steam for use in commercial laundries. Although level 1 auditing, which focus on analysis of energy use through an investigation of the tariff structure of existing energy purchases, should be undertaken. The greatest potential for savings in the industrial sector will usually revolve around the selection, operation, and maintenance of the efficient equipment in the process. Planning for energy efficiency in industrial process. So need a concrete plan for energy efficiency in industrial sectors. And once the initial energy audit has been undertaken, it will provide an important first step in monitoring and achieving the progress towards energy efficiency goals. This information is the baseline energy consumption or the energy uses associated with current practices in the factory as well as existing equipment. This is known as or identified as T suffix 0, that is T0. This is the energy consumption prior to any systematic energy efficiency measuring being undertaken. In conjunction with the result of the screening survey, the establishment of this baseline information allows energy managers to set target for reduced energy consumption, which can be achieved through changes in the management and operation of the industrial processes, as well as targets which would be possible through the implementation of energy efficient technologies. In this regard, some targets are fixed, and these are categorized into short-term energy efficiency target, long-term energy efficiency target, and innovative energy efficiency target. In short-term energy efficiency target, which can be achieved in the short term as a result of streamlined operations of the plant, that are known as T1 or housekeeping targets. These energy savings will usually be the results of the efficient use of energy consuming equipments. A reduction in amount of waste energy, timely maintenance of equipments, and continual monitoring of energy consumptions of the industrial processes. Specific examples of housekeeping targets for electric motors, compressed air system, process heating steam, and heat recovery are covered in this short-term energy efficiency target. In long-term energy efficiency targets, further reduction in energy consumption, which can only be achieved through purchase with a high capital cost, are known as T2 or investment targets, and should ideally be based on lowest energy consumptions of best practice example of similar industrial processes. As the purchase of expensive capital equipment is required to achieve these long-term energy efficiency targets, careful modeling should be undertaken to ensure that the investment is sound. That is, the payback period of the equipment is not greater than the working life of the equipment. The establishment of investment target is a complex process. It requires a large amount of technical knowledge of similar industries, the options available for energy savings through the investments in new capital, as well as knowledge and skill in economic modeling. However, a large number of international best practice examples and case studies from industrialized nations, particularly in Europe and United States, has increased the amount of information and data available on international best practice. So much of this information is available through CADET, that is energy efficiency, the US official of industrial technologies, and the World Energy Efficiency Association, whose details are not beyond in this scope. Now, next is, that is innovative energy efficiency target. Energy efficiency in an area of increasing technology innovation and some consideration should also be given to setting T3 or innovation targets. These targets are based on energy consumption of state-of-the-art technologies, which are still economically viable. Innovation target, while not immediately achievable, may become achievable in the medium to long term as a result of change in economic environments. That is, it greatly increases the profitability of the industry and the production environment where by innovative energy strategies targets the need for a higher quality or specialized product for the market is achievable. Or regulatory changes, that is the introduction of legislation governing pollution control, energy consumptions, or the Kyoto Protocol. Number C, strategies for energy savings in industries. The strategies for achieving energy saving in industry are quite different to those for most of other sectors. Industry is very diverse and is often controlled by very large multinational corporations. In this context, the appropriate approach need to be carefully considered. Industry is generally repetitive to effort to cut its energy cost, but is less likely to be attracted to regulatory measures that increases its operating cost. Some technical options are available for energy savings in the industrial sector are as diverse as the industries themselves. However, they principally revolve around the savings of energy in area such as electric motor, compressed air, steam, furnaces, and heat recovery equipment. The production of on-site power and heat or steam through cogeneration systems or combined heat power cycle systems can result in energy savings, though the utilization of waste energy associated with the production of power. the opportunities for energy savings in relation to the operation and maintenance of industrial buildings also exist. Although these are often similar to the commercial sector. Now, energy savings and electric motor, both are vice versa. Electric motor usually accounts for almost half of total industrial energy consumption and represents a significant opportunity for financial savings from energy consumptions. 4 areas offer potentially savings with regard to the selection and operation of electric motor, that is energy efficient motor, that is T2, that is which comes under innovative energy efficient strategies. Variable speed drives, also it comes under the innovative ways. Correctly sized motors, this is also similar, and regular maintenance, that is comes under the short term strategies. Energy efficient motors, by definition, one motor will be more efficient than other motors if it uses less energy to produce the same rated output. Most energy efficiency motors are usually constructed with higher quality materials and advanced manufacturing techniques and result in less waste energy being produced through reduced vibration, noise, and heat. Some countries have adopted minimum energy performance standards for new electric motors. Many others have developed standards which motor must meet in order to sold as energy efficient. These regulatory measures offers the potential for long-term savings, although are unlikely to result in wide-scale energy reduction in short term, as they are rarely retroactive, relating only to future purchases, which may be made 5 to 10 years in the future. Next is variable speed drives. Electric motors which are able to operate at different speeds according to the amount of power supplied to the drive unit are known by a variety of terms including variable or adjustable speed drives and or variable frequency drives, as well as inverters, although not all inverters are variable speed drives. Variable speed drives are ideal for situation where a motor or the device of the motor drive does not operate at full capacity during its entire operation. For example, the fan and pumps in HVAC system and distribution system in processes. In these situations, the variable flow rate of fluid is often obtained by physically restricting the system to achieve the lower flow rate or installing vanes and throttles. Variable speed drives allow the speed of the drive and hence the flow rate of the fluid to be reduced by decreasing the amount of power supplied through the use of power control units. The main advantage of this drive is when the speed of the fluid fluctuates between low and high flow rates. For example, low flow rates of conditioned air in a temperature controlled building, a smaller amount of power can be used to drive the units as compared to single speed drives. Correctly motor size. In many applications, the speed of a device powered by an electric motor, which is relatively, the speed is constant, and hence the rated power consuming also constant. In these situations, high efficiency single speed motors are ideal as they are usually more efficient near the rated load of a motor than variable speed drives. However, careful attention should be paid to ensuring that the motor is not significantly oversized given by the usual load, as with application where the load fluctuates. Motors which are operated at less than full load are operating far less efficiently than those at or near at rated load. Next is maintenance of electric motor is an important parameters for energy savings. As with other price of capital, electric motors and their devices that drives should regularly serviced and maintained to ensure components are clean and free from dust and oil. Operating at peak performance as compared to manufacturer's specifications, identify areas of wear or damage before the performance of the motor is degraded. Increases the operating life of the motor. Frequently, when motors fails, it is due to a fault in the stator wire. In this situation, rewinding the wire usually repairs the motor, whilst motor can be rewounded to have about the same level of efficiency. Some reduction in efficiency will usually occurs. It is usually not practical or cost effective to have an electric motor of a lower efficiency rewounded to a higher efficiency, as the material used in the stator core and rotor will also influence the overall efficiency of the motor. However, a motor failure does not represent an opportunity to upgrade to a higher efficiency. Energy savings and compressed air systems. In many industrial processes, compressed air systems can consume a large component of energy uses and hence offer the potential for large financial savings from reduced energy consumptions. The largest component of a compressed air system is the compressor unit. Compressor can utilize a variety of fuel sources, including diesel, petrol, and electricity. Whilst that this discussion will focus on electric compressor, the principle applies across all fuels. Although predicting financial savings may be difficult where fuel price, especially for oil-based fuel, fluctuates rapidly. Energy savings from compressed air system will usually result from savings into two areas. One is compressor unit, that is T2, comes under T2, that is long scale strategy, and distribution system, which is comes under either short time or long term strategies. Compressor units, at the heart of the compressor, irrespective of fuel type, there are three areas that are essential for energy efficiency. One is compressor motor, compressor elements, also known as air end, and compressor control systems. Compressor motors, energy savings for motors is general are discussed at the length of previous of this section. In addition to this, consideration should be given where feasible to replace electric motor with diesel fuel and vice versa, if energy and hence financial savings are possible. Compressor elements. The air end of the compressor is the component that is responsible for compressing the air in the compressor units. The performance of compressor element will depend largely on the type of element of the unit, that is whether it is rotary type of compressor, whether it is screw type of compressor, whether it is rotary vent type of compressor, or either reciprocating or centrifugal type of compressor. And it may vary by as much as 20% between the styles. The size of the elements is also an important factor, as larger, underutilized, or poorly fluctuating compressors will use more energy than smaller units operating at full capacity. Reducing operating pressure of the larger compressor may also result in energy savings. And last of all, compressor control system. The development of microprocessor has an important effect on the efficiency of the compressor. Modern controls are able to match the air supplies to the demand much more efficiently than is possible manually. And savings up to 45% may be possible. Though the installation of a number of smaller compressor which can be bought automatically to match the demand for air. Aside from savings associated with energy consumptions from the compressor component, financial savings will result from compressor units, which are appropriately located, correctly installed, and maintained and serviced regularly. Typical compressors are located out of sight in the factory, and consideration should be given to ensure that they are not subjected to extreme of temperature and are appropriately ventilated to prevent overheating. Reducing the compressor inlet air temperature by shading of location or through the increasing ventilation of this inlet can also offer significant savings. The correct installations and commissioning of new equipment as well as regular recommissioning of existing equipment after major service and repairs should ensure that the systems is operating efficiently. With this, we like to conclude today's session. The next session we will discuss the other factors. Thank you for joining this session.